Good evening, Dr. Kuhlman, IBUS 700. This is Doug Jennings. I'm a student in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm not going to be able to be with y'all tonight because I'm in Jacksonville, Florida with the Navy. My assignment was the FDI in South Africa article in Chapter 12. This article talked about a little bit of the history of South Africa, how the apartheid rule was in effect until the early 90s, and how since the African National Congress took over, there was some question about the political climate in South Africa, whether it would be pro-business or not. Since that time, the African National Congress has actually been somewhat pro-business, and some of the companies that left have come back. I'm going to go through the questions in the back of the article. The first is, what are the costs and benefits to South Africa of having more foreign direct investment? The cost would be the tax reduction. In order for South Africa to attract business, they would have to reduce taxes and also reduce import taxes, which would initially probably have a little bit of an impact as far as decreasing revenue, but long term, the benefits would outweigh that because the investment would come in and spur business and growth. The other cost would be that the government would have to be involved with export marketing assistance for the countries that want to invest in South Africa. The benefits would be job creation. South Africa has a 25% unemployment rate, and the benefit would be initially to grow businesses, which would employ people and would ultimately expand the tax base. And I think any loss in revenue that South Africa would experience would be negated by the increased revenue, because they would hopefully pare down that 25% unemployment rate. The other business benefits would be an improvement in the state-owned companies' quality, and also that it would allow their economy to be more diversified in case there was a global downturn in the economy, which there is now. It would not be quite, the impact wouldn't be quite as great in South Africa if they were involved with foreign direct investment. Second part of that question would be what would be the cost and benefits of less foreign direct investment in South Africa? And of course, the cost and benefits of having less would just be opposite of the cost and benefits of having more. Second question is, how might a company weigh fairly the opportunities and risk of investing in South Africa? Obtaining accurate data on any country is somewhat of a challenge. If you go to the country itself, the government there will want to put their best foot forward and may provide you with information that's not completely accurate. Even relying on international organizations like the UN or the IMF has its downfalls, or its shortcomings, I should say, because those organizations actually get information from the countries. So their information is based on that, and it can be suspect as well. The best way really is to form a grid, pulling information from various sources to assess and to evaluate what the opportunity is in a country, and then actually to just go to the country to get some time in country, to talk to locals, business owners, see what the environment is as far as investment opportunities and what the potential you think the growth would be. The third question is, if South Africa is to receive more foreign direct investment, how should it prioritize policies to attract the FDI? One of the things the article pointed out was that the corruption in government in South Africa is still evident, and or the perception is still there. And one of the things I think they could work on would be to pass legislation or enforce existing legislation that outlaws corruption in government, and then when someone is involved with government corruption, that person would be prosecuted to the full extent possible, and that would send a message to the rest of the world that South Africa is serious about their attracting foreign direct investment. The other interesting part of the article I thought was that I mentioned Johannesburg, and the question was asked in the article, why would an executive leave their comfortable country and home to go to Johannesburg, where it may not be safe? So to me, that says the perception is that the city of Johannesburg is not exactly a safe place, and so I think that South Africa could do a lot to clean up that city and attract more foreign direct investment. Some of you may remember Mayor Giuliani in New York City. Before he became the mayor, the city was kind of dirty, there's a lot of crime, not real safe, and he came in, cleaned it up, and made it a much more safe place to live. Also, some of the corporate giants that left South Africa, actually they didn't leave South Africa, they stayed there, but they switched their stock market from their home stock market to foreign bourses. So I think that it would be good for South Africa to attract those companies back. The fourth question was factors to consider when comparing South Africa with other developing countries where you might locate. The thing that I would look at would be infrastructure. What are the streets, roads, bridges like in South Africa? What's the communication system like in South Africa? What's the power grid like? How dependable is it? Is it possible to access the web from any place within reason? Are there multiple wireless connections there? Have they taken the next step, like some cities in the U.S., to provide a wireless zone in their downtown area so that anyone in any building or on the sidewalk or wherever they are could upload or could access the internet? What's the skill base of the local citizens and what is their work ethic? What would be the government incentives that I would want in order to go into South Africa, and I would also want guarantees that those incentives would continue. I think about BMW that coming to South Carolina got a sweet deal by many people's evaluation and were guaranteed various things, and so I would want to have that same kind of relationship with them. And I'd also want to know where my competitors are and what they're doing in South Africa and the region. Next part of this question is, what about in terms of developed markets? I would simply ask, can I be competitive in a developed market? Do I have what it takes to make a profit there? How stable is the current market? And will my competitors come in to the market and be competition for me? So whatever I'm producing, is someone else producing that? And if I do get there first, will they come in and compete and minimize my ability to make a profit? Or by having me go in there first, will I make enough profit initially in order to make up any slimming of that margin at a later time? And then last part of the question was, what about terms of other African markets? It was interesting. I looked up the friendliness of doing business in various countries, and South Africa was ranked 32, along with other countries like Germany and some other European countries in that same kind of mix. And however, the countries that are close to South Africa, Angola, Zimbabwe, they were actually 140 something down there with Venezuela and other countries. So part of the FDI in South Africa would be to look at those other countries. I would want to know what their infrastructure is like as well. Roads, bridges, internet, accessibility, communications, power grid structure, all of that would either hamper or enhance my ability to do business there. And also I would want to have people that I could be confident in those countries and people that I could trust in those countries. I know those relationships would take a while to develop, but those would be things that I would look at. That's all that I have. Thank you very much.